I'm the best ever. I'm the most sued that there's ever been. I'm suing everybody. I'm suing Netflix. I'm Hulu. All of them. Anybody can get it. Netflix is being sued after the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight and fiasco. In this video, I'm gonna break it down, let you know what is going on. So, off the heels of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, we have some new news, and that's a class action lawsuit being filed against Netflix. So basically, the gist of what's going on is angry users, like Netflix subscribers, have decided to sue Netflix for the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight, citing a bunch of technical difficulties, streaming issues, buffering issues, so on and so forth. You know, I guess they feel, hey, yo, I'm paying for Netflix. You advertise this as a free fight and a mega event, sports event to see. And as a result, you know, a lot of people face these issues with buffering, and some people probably couldn't even connect at all. I know for a fact I was doing a watch party and I have a Netflix account. If you watch the watch party, the BOXINGEGO watch party, BWP, you'll see there was a moment where right before the main event came on, like it could have happened at Amanda Serrano. I mean, I would have been mad because that was a good fight, but it could have happened anytime in the prelims. I didn't really have buffering issues, but I was reading a lot of people on Twitter were saying that they did, right? And at the worst possible moment, Mike Tyson had just walked out, Jake Paul got drove out, and all of a sudden my stream went kaput and I couldn't even watch the fight. And luckily, I was able to keep refreshing to the point where I was able to catch it. So that is very inconvenient. And I think the fight as a whole was a letdown. You know, it's funny because you have almost like Netflix putting out press releases and they're like, oh, 100 million. First, it was 65 million for the main event. Now they're saying that the Serrano fight with Katie Taylor, the rematch, did 75 million by itself. Now the number is 100 million globally. But here's the thing. These numbers are strong, but people feel duped. Now you're being sued. So like me, I'm old fashioned. I believe in like virtues and values and things like that. So my thing is this. What would have been better is to have a better card and a fight that delivered, so people feel like you had all these people gathered in their households and, you know, the world stood still to watch this particular fight. You got everybody's eyeballs and you got all this attention, and then the fight really didn't deliver. I mean, the Barrios fight with Ramos and Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, far better fights than the actual main event. And that was the one that got the most attention, the most press and things. For me, I felt the fight truly felt like a bait and switch. Like Mike Tyson comes out after the fact and said he was near death months before the fight, which is why the fight got postponed initially. Why did Texas even allow him to fight if it's all that? That's why I said it felt like a bait and switch. You had Mike Tyson, who was slapping Jake Paul. He was trying to sell the fight. He looked like he was in the best shape that he's been in since his pro career. Things like that. All for what? Then in the fight, he didn't really do much. Couldn't get off the blocks. Couldn't throw anything. And he was biting his gloves more than he was throwing punches or anything else. And then same thing with Jake Paul. Jake Paul, for whatever reason, you know, he could say he carried him, but I think it's twofold. I don't know if it's just, oh, he carried him. I think Jake Paul also, knowing that Mike Tyson is a formidable puncher, he didn't want to get caught with anything. So as a result, like he didn't look, to me, Jake Paul didn't look like so firmly in control, like where he's on some Roy Jones stuff toying with his opponent and he looked levels beyond Mike Tyson. It looked like you know, Jake Paul possibly had another gear, but he didn't want to take the risk needed to like open up. You know, he says he spared him and carried him. You guys can decide. But now, like I said, it's all for what? Netflix is being sued. You did these great numbers. You had a bunch of people in the building for a letdown fight. And now you got this dude from Florida suing Netflix for breach of contract and saying like, this ain't what I signed up for. Tons of glitches, tons of errors, you know, and Netflix is like, oh, this was still a success. Again, for me, I rather do business the right way, which is to have something that is a hit and commercial. It has that critical and commercial acclaim. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's the balance that some people forget about. Some people, they want to, it's almost like crypto, like a pump and dump, you know, where they pull the rug. It's a rug pull. That's what it feels like, where it's Netflix had the opportunity to do something big and then they got everyone interested. Mike Tyson slaps him, etc. And then you watch it and you're like, what was that? You know what I mean? So it just feels like you were set up. Me, I expected it. So I never, you notice I wasn't even making a bunch of videos for it because I'm more concerned with like David Benavidez and David Morrell and Tank's return, Usyk Fury 2, you know, like what I consider real boxing. I didn't really see a big gain for a guy almost 60 years old who does mushrooms, smokes weed. He's a podcaster, you know, and he's so far removed from boxing. So a lot of people, they were under the guise like, oh, it's Mike Tyson still, power doesn't leave you and things like that. And now you even have people saying the fight was fixed, rigged, and it was staged, and they're not even believing the results. So for me, I would rather, if it was me making the money and having an event that had good metrics, is good, but you don't want it to be a rug pull where people feel unsatisfied afterwards. So I think to connect the dots better, it would have been better if it was a better fight, and then it would have been an all-around success. And it's funny because a lot of you haters, you hated on Floyd Mayweather when he fought Conor McGregor and said how despicable it was, called it a circus. But then a guy who's 27 or whatnot fighting a 50-year-old aging legend that had health issues, you guys said this was great. And Mike Tyson, I've never seen him look so scary. And you guys really amped this up. And for real, I covered Mayweather McGregor. It was better all around. It made way more money. It was a better fight, and it was a better buildup. You know, Mike Tyson didn't really do a bunch of savage stuff in the buildup to the fight up until the weigh-in where he slapped him. You know, they had some weird comments at the first press conference where Mike Tyson says, you was a little boy dancing and I got a ejection, and you know what I mean. And I'm like, what is this? Like, what kind of promotion is this? So all in all, it is what it is. I'm happy to move on from this, but I want to give you guys the news. Netflix now being sued by a person who, you know, ultimately they weren't happy with the user experience. Let me know what you guys think.